Score already. I wouldn't drop it. Alright, so I wait on Chemo said, why the game so late? No, I'm still not getting a confirmation on that, Chemo. We need to gain a draw tonight. Yeah, good. Alright, so we're going to be joined by Giovanni Brady from Geotalk Sports People. Respect, Cash, big up Cash for the new logo. Him did it. He's the one who started that out for me. I try to accept it. I not accept what go on. Oh, big up Geo. What go on? People are joined by Geotalk Sports. This basically unofficial, well, IG interview was his idea. I'm saying, you know what? Let's go. A long time I do an IG live. You know, this is a man I really like the camera still, because I really can't wait if you go on camera.
I'm see it. But military, you say I like camera military enough time I see up on the camera 10 times a day talk about
Yeah, but we don't like
on
the camera
YouTube,
still.
you know?
We don't like it same, man. We don't like it same, man. We don't like it same, man. So Gio, what go on?
Great.
See I beat Arsenal colours.
Yeah,
What go on? How the Arsenal stress so far?
you know, I Jamaican colours me a beat, you know, but the Arsenal Jamaica colours, you know.
Yeah.
But the Arsenal stress is Arsenal stress, you know. I don't really know how to deal with it. Arsenal is just Arsenal, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, you have strength. So, what we have on the table, the Reggae Boys facing the USA tonight. So far, if I'm being honest, it's not a good look where the results are in pass and how the statistics detail us and what it looks like. But certainly, there's a lot of expectations on the team. High hopes, as you can see, ESPN, all of these top media outlets, these worldwide media outlets are zooming on the team, which certainly means that even if we believe that we are in the building phase, as what most people say, or in the building phase, the expectation is quite high on us. There's a lot of people expecting us to do well, a lot of people expecting the team and the coaching staff to represent themselves well in the Gold Cup campaign. So despite we think we're in the building process, I don't think that the team that we have right now really signal building process.
Question. The team we have now, right? Other persons have been giving it buzz, as I say, rightfully so. And even me see like on ESPN and a couple of other stations have posted front three. Granted, I don't know if Coach Algrim's going to use a front three, you know. And he's not as you have pointed out on many occasions, he's not really a front three type of manager. He's really a, you know, he used two forwards, 4-4-2. I think he used 3-5-2 a couple of times, well, with Iceland before. But he's not a three forward manager in essence. So a lot of people have been, you know, hyping up the team and so on. However, so far the results them have not been on par. Now, for me personally, let me not say I'm good with that, but I understand because he hasn't been able to get a consistent squad together, you know, and most of the games that we've seen him play so far, I think it's really been him kind of trying to feel out, you know, the local players. I realize him bringing a whole heap of players from overseas, the Omari Hutchinsons, you know, the Kings and them type of man there. You know, so yeah, it's kind of difficult to say. You know, I've one sentiment that I've seen online is that if it was Tapper, but if Tapper was 6 games and win the match, Tapper would have under
pressure.
Fire. So,
sure,
and
it is, that is true, and we can't. The really and truly, you know, is that even though it's new and is doing in the job, but you have to remember that the stakes remain the same. Despite he's new in the job, the stakes remain the same. The reputation, the FIFA rankings, the win ratio, all those things remain the same. Now, you can't be the fans, you can't be some of the fans for wanting immediate results, and you also can't be some of the fans for seeing through the process, because in modern football, everyone is talking about the process of getting it right over a time period. So there's a split between the fan base. One want the results now, and also one said, okay, we can see through things and see what's happening. Now, the problem we're gonna have now is this now. If we have a successful Gold Cup, you're gonna see the persons who are immediately wanting success to jump on board onto the process. On the other side of that now, if the Gold Cup campaign is a failure, knowing to the squad, the quality of the squad, or the quality of the players in the squad, that would actually a lot more pressure, and a lot of people who are trusting the process would jump on the other side of saying, hey,
That's right. But,
yeah.
so in the Jordan game, I saw a few things that he kind of encouraged. Don't get me wrong, like from a little boy, when I watch Jamaica, I feel like say Jamaica always have this thing where it look like we don't have no midfield. For some reason, it look like we don't have no midfield. But in the Jordan game, you could see a couple of things they might try to implement. He might try to press on them little thing there. And this time, this is his sixth game. So for you to be watching his sixth game and try to implement pressing on them little thing there, that's very encouraging. That's very, very encouraging. And I think people need to put the context into it as well. It's a 4-year process. The next World Cup is not until when? 2026? The next World Cup? So
yeah. But
early.
No, remember this now. So even though the World Cup is 2026, the World Cup campaign starts next year and the following year.
And Nations League is September, same way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So even though the World Cup is 2026, that's the World Cup date. But the qualification is 2024 and 2025. That is when the qualification takes place. Which means that if we can't get it right next year, we never can get it right the following, because in the last year, we play less games in the last year going up to the World Cup.
Point taken. My personal expectation is that, say, Jamaica is supposed to get to the latter stages of World Cup qualifying. So it's like, for me personally, and probably that's too much of an expectation for me as a fan, independent of whether or not Hal Grimson find, his best team. And don't get me wrong, I think he should. And he will find his best team by then. And by the time the Hex come, we should not be discussing playing style and type of thing there. No doubt. But worst comes to worst, I think the worst version of any Reggae Boy squad should be able to make it to the Hex. Especially given the fact, say, Canada, Mexico, and the USA already would have been in the World Cup. So, yeah. I get what you're saying for the qualifiers start next year, but I'm not of a worry, say, them 6 last they will get so far, means, say, we're not going to make it to the Hex. I think we're going to make it. I think a bad Reggae Boys playing team gets to the Hex because of how strong I presume the Reggae Boys to be. But my general thing is just like a playing style. And for me personally, I know a lot of persons get hung up on the playing out from the back and the passing and them type of thing there. For me personally, I have multiple ways to play football. I'm not necessarily, I love seeing the ball circulate, yes. But what me want to say more than anything is just a way of playing, a consistent and coherent way of playing. Because not every team will play football, pass the ball from the back. Like look at Brentford. Brentford don't play like a City.
No,
don't play like a Brighton, although Brighton play pretty football, But they all play an efficient brand of football will maximize the talent that them have. And in maximizing the talent them have, them get results. So me not necessarily say we need arguments of it. We are playing like 2010 Barcelona.
Question. In that sense, right? We are now into the 7th game. We're going to a commission. In that sense, if you said particular, not all teams, there are many different ways of playing football. In your case, in the event that we enter into the World Cup qualifiers, but you don't see a particular brand, there's many different brands of football.
We can't identify
in a particular way. Do you think that would be concerning?
Yeah, man, definitely. Definitely would be concerning. Definitely. If we're entering into the Hex 2024, 2025, and the fans can't look and say, okay, there are some systems that we're seeing or some patterns that are being consistently repeated, or can nail them and say, okay, that is what the Reggae Boys should look like. When the Reggae Boys go World Cup, when we play USA, when we play whosoever, this is what I'm expecting to see. Then definitely, I think we're in for some concern, and I think concerns should be raised. And in people who are raising concerns now, it's good to keep the thing at the high standard. It's good to keep the coach on his toes. If he knows, okay, we are watching, we are see what's going on. However, at this point in time, I'm not going to be necessarily overly critical. And not only that, I'm actually happy that, you're getting a Latibo there, Lemby Keisa, Amari, but even though Amari has been there for, a long time. Russell, you're getting Leon, you're getting Whisper. I don't know if people see Whisper seems to be a controversial, show to the squad. I am 50-50. I'm always one for building in young players, and I think something that has plagued the Reggae Boys for a long time is that hold on for the man them too long for you let
So,
them bring in new people.
I agree.
You know, so I am one for that. But I think in this World Cup, again, it's early in the campaign, but even this World Cup campaign, I'm expecting to see a lot of these players forming a core nucleus of the squad that is gonna push on through Nations League and push on through qualifiers and so on. So I think, you know, even if we say don't win this Gold Cup, or even if we don't go to the finals, if we can switch part, chemistry would have been built over the course of the tournament and so on. And if we drop out, we give an encouraging performance and we drop out. We can live with that.
Question.
Personally.
All right.
You know, I can live with that.
So question. If in the Gold Cup campaign, right? Basically said you're not really going to do any much of the. You're not that caught up with most of the things that you're seeing right now. In the Gold Cup campaign, knowing to the fact that Mexico not their strongest squad, having coaching issues, a lot of internal issues Mexico having right now. Same as the USA, internal issues just the same. Not the strongest squad, basically an all MLS team. Canada, not their strongest squad. Now, when you look across the board, and on paper, most would say that Jamaica have the strongest team in the Gold Cup on paper. And if you should go in that competition and not get the favored result, do you think that people would look at all those factors and ask the question, despite not having the team to play a lot of games together, is it concerning that we went in that with that much quality and those teams who don't have that much quality seem victorious?
When you look at it from a broad perspective, yes, you know, when you just look at it and you know the situation or so on. But when you look on it from a closer perspective, then you know this 23-man squad, this squad they have right now is the first time he's having some of these players together, you know, as a collective. Because if I remember correctly, when we played against Mexico away for the Nations League, was Antonio in that team? Did he get Antonio for that team?
Antonio, yes, he was in the team.
Antonio was in that team.
Let me check. I believe he was in the team. I believe he was in that particular team. US, Jamaica last game, Qatar.
Not US, yeah, not US, it was Mexico, yeah, man, Nations League, yeah.
I check the lineup. I think he had all his players in that game. Okay, no Antonio, but he had Bailey, Nicholson, Lowe.
Yeah, man.
Nicholson,
Lowe, yeah. So again, so again, it comes down to the fact say this exact nucleus. You get a few of them, you know. So I know Pinnock was there and so on. But this exact nucleus is the first time I get that nucleus together. And as I say, I feel like say, barring a few additions in midfield, because I do think we need something else in the midfield. I like how Latibo look. The first time Mr. John was playing, he looked good. The last time I watched him against, was it Qatar? Was it Qatar? Either Qatar, yeah, it was whatever. You know, but me still think like we need to recruit something else out of England. Like, you know, it burned me so we never get Calvin Phillips them long time there when we did want Calvin Phillips. Because I think Calvin Phillips would have been like the type of you who could have switched the culture in a Jamaican football. But you know,
all right, so
I like the squad. So, I think him continue with the squad.
In the comment section, right? RSC, GZM, and make a brilliant point, and sometimes I always discuss. Now, in football, right, not all the time specific problem is players. You will always identify that it's the players. Now, sometimes it's how the team is deployed. So you have the striker, you have strikers in one line, you have the midfielder in the other line, you have the defenders in the other line. What you find out with the Jamaican team how we play most of the time is that once the ball break the first line, which is a forward line, and enter in the midfield zone, you don't get the forward that track back to support the midfielder.
Yeah, man, I think that's how you point that out in one of the games that we in Qatar we can see the fullback get left by himself. Yeah, man.
He was isolated, and that should not happen. You can't. Whenever the ball are. Notice what Jordan did. When we're playing against Jordan create overload. Wherever the ball is, they create an overload. Wherever the ball. So even if we had 5 players in midfield, think that we can clog the nickel, it's still not going to be sufficient because of how we play. The lines are so far apart. By the time the ball reaches the midfielder, the striker is so far apart from the midfielders to come and support. And if the midfielder should step out, if any one of the midfielders should step out of their line to go and make the first tackle and make the first press, there's going to be a space vacant behind of them.
I totally agree with you. Right. Huh? And that's what I was alluding to before, regards to a system. If you have a coherent system in place, you know, those principles in the system, you know, here some coaches talk about no more than 10 yards between midfield, between the defense, the midfield and the forward. So if it's a 4-4-2, no more than 10 yards. You move together, you shuffle together as a unit, you shuffle together as an organism, to and fro, back and forth, side to side. And those are the type of things that I'm talking about when I say not necessarily pretty football per se. We just want the team to be coherent and organized so we can point out certain stuff. I never saw that against Jordan and Qatar. I really never see it against Jordan and Qatar, but again, it's been 6 games, and I think the coach seems to be... Seven games, sorry, it's been 7 games, and I think the coach was using those 7 games really and truly to just look and see who him could have pick out and who him couldn't pick out. Going forward, definitely, I expect to see them things, and if Nations League, me never gonna get it until next year to qualify. If Nation League come on by ending a Nation League, when you can point out, then serious questions should be asked. And you know, I for one, I'm with the criticism the coach gets now. I don't know. I'm probably overblowing it. It's not been a lot, but there has been 1 or 2 voices, and you know, I still appreciate those 1 or 2 voices because again, the coach know. You know, I was in the press conference and you know, I for one asked him, I said to him that you know, people already are questioning.
No, but that's why I said you can't really blame people for questioning because in truth and fact, I have already asked a lot of questions. It's just into the team, and I have also asked a lot of questions already. And there's a reason why I'm doing it. And this is the reason why I'm doing it. It's important that we don't allow anyone, especially since we're doing that with the JFF, anyone in our football to get complacent, to get relaxed, to get a feeling as if, all right, I have time to do what I want to do. I don't want anyone to get that feeling. I want to know that, hey, one mistake, you'll be accountable for it. An error, you'll be accountable. Just the same as though we would attack the JFF, said, fix this, get that right. Because I saw something today with the CSE games, and I saw the team rolling out in Puma gears. And I'm going to address that. And that was last night. So
I saw that from yesterday,
every issue that you see these things coming up, you have to attack it right away.
What's the reason for the team going out in Puma gears?
There should be no reason whenever it's football and it's reggae boys, reggae girls. It has to be
Adidas.
Adidas, because Adidas is our gear sponsors. Imagine we are looking at the reggae girls and reggae boys for that competition, and they're playing in Puma gears. That would make no sense logically. So every aspect, just the same as how the coach would the JFF would mess up, get at them. The technical staff mess up, get at them.
Get at them. The same treatment for the coach.
Excuse. So look at the players as well, I think
man.
The players get the longest stick.
Before you mention it, military. Grims, big up yourself, Grims. Grims and this other person, T20 Alex said, is because it's Olympic thing. The CAC is an Olympic, it falls under the Olympic umbrella. That's why they're in Puma gears. And I was actually thinking about that yesterday. That probably I think that's why they were in the gears for it, because CAC is not a FIFA event. It's not a FIFA football event. It's not governed by FIFA. So probably that's why they're not in. Yeah, man. I was thinking about that. So it's not. And that's why I wasn't vocal about that on Twitter, because I figured that there must have been some rational explanation as to why, you know? Because I saw it and I was wondering why they were in Puma gears. So that's the thing, that is the role that we play. We need to ask these questions. Ask these questions, man.
Even if there's rational explanation for it, we have to ask the question to find out what are the explanations, so that the general populace, population can get that information. Who knows about exactly. A few persons know about the thing, can give a general, can understand, but not the general populace, understand. So it's important that we have this question to find out what is happening. So that's the same. As I said, the players are the ones who actually get the longest rope to make whatever issues or errors, because they are players and they always get it. Because our favorite players will always get it with certain things. They will always get it. But at the end of the day, at some point in time, you have to draw them up in line and say, hey, you can't be doing that. You can't be doing this.
I'm doing this. Question later, so I wanted to ask you or talk to you about what do you think about the criticism of the squad in general? Because the squad got picked and there have been a lot of persons, especially with the local base players not being involved. I think Andrew Price was in an interview on Sportsmax. I don't think he was overly critical per se, you know, but regardless of that, Mr. Butler saw it fit to respond to him, you know, with regards to, you know, Dujon being in the squad. Again, with Dujon being in the squad, I said to you earlier, and I'm not zoning in on this particular issue, but it seemed to be one of the most topical things. So, in talking about this, you have to bring it up. I for one, I'm good with Dujon being in the squad. If the place of any local base player was taken by anybody, I don't think it was Dujon who took that spot, because I would have had Dujon in my squad, and I probably also would have had two local base players in my squad with him as well, in my personal squad that I would have selected. But what do you think about the narrative or the critique coming in so far about no local base player being in the squad for the Gold Cup?
First, you have to understand where the coach is coming from. And he gave his explanation that he said that he saw him in the Trinidad game. And from that, you'd assume that he would say that maybe those players are not up to par as yet. Because that must have been what he's alluded to. In my perspective, though, I do believe that there must be a pathway for your highest competition, your highest competitive league in a nation, a pathway to the national team. I do view it that way. But you also have to look at what the coach's perspective. What is it that the coach wants? So not because I would say, okay, in my view, at least bring one, just to show that the players that, hey, you have performed well this season, and this is your reward. And that would
performing well in the local league.
Yeah, so
yeah.
That is
I think
so in that sense, you know, there's many ways to look at it, but in the same sense, it's what the coach's decision is and what he views as what he wants to go further. Because you can say that, all right, fair enough. Let's say Demar Phillips went to Jordan, and they said, okay, Jamar Phillips, he had a wonderful season, and I also want to keep him as a part of the Gold Cup squad. I do think a lot of persons, this issue would not have come up. This issue would not have come up.
He's one of the two I'd have in the squad. I'd have him, and obviously one of Chivante or Colin Anderson in the squad. One of the two of them I would have had in the squad.
The thing is, with Chivante and Colin, the position has a lot to do with it. Look at the striking force that we have. Look at the striking force now. The reason why they target the strike force, the reason they target the strike force is solely because the youngster in Dujon Richards is in it. So it's easier to target the striking force and then target youngster. But the problem that they're not understanding, this is not the first we have had a player of that young age being a part of the national setup. It's not the first we're seeing it. I've seen it from back then with Bibi and the guys. So it's not the first.
Yeah, man, I'm hearing you. Yeah, so, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Okay, stop suddenly. But yeah, man, so my question to you don't think there's anybody in the forward line that we could have left and fit in a Colin or a Chivante? You don't believe so?
All right. That's the reason I said it's difficult. And that's the reason why the easiest target was or would have been
the forward line. Because not to cut you. I think it's a strong squad. I think it's one of the strongest squad we've put together.
Yeah.
And personally, I'm not really hung up on. For me personally, it's more the bringing the local base players is more of a principle thing. Because if you even look at Brazil, for example. Brazil's going to the World Cup. Brazil are going to carry two local base players just out of principle. Those men are in the squad. You know, they're Brazil, they're on the ground, so they're seeing what's happening in Brazil among the football fans, and they have that level of passion. I, for one, agree with that, and I would also bring a local base player or two local base players based on that. Now, that don't necessarily mean that you're gonna start or play every single game, but it's always good to build these guys in, give them experience, give them exposure. So for me personally, I would have, but I don't necessarily have an issue with the squad. For me, it's not like I'm going to look at this squad and say, it's a huge indictment. No. But for principle's sake, I think I would have brought two local base players.
But it's the right concept. It is the right concept now. Let me tell you why, right? Let me tell you why it's the right concept. So your local league will have the supporters on the ground. As I always say, when I'm on YouTube, I tell people that what the discussions that are had, that has been had over the internet, like IG, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, it's not the real world. It's not real. real.
Yeah, man.
It's not
Social
real.
media is always a vocal minority, you
It's
know, but yeah, yeah.
exactly. So it's the YouTube aspect of things. The social media is fantasy. What we fantasize should happen and what we believe could happen. But the real world is when we're on the ground watching the JPL, we can say, okay, look at the turnout and look at the support
Yeah,
that the players are
especially
getting.
for the
So those players, when you bring in one of those players, you get a lot more Jamaica
yeah,
galvanized
man, you
to
bring nobody
support
feels
them.
ostracized. Nobody feels like they can't familiarize themselves with the squad because they have people who follow JPL more than them follow Premier League or European football or champions. There are people who, because me and you were at the matches and we saw the amount of support, especially when Arnett Gardens did a play, like, you know, Arnett Garden fans there, the stadium full of red. I did a vlog and when I went in the stadium, I felt like I was the Arsenal match because I just be red, me that say. Same thing with the finals in Mount Pleasant. You see the people them come all the way from St. Anne and how they, you know, they celebrated when we miss a goal, how they invade the pitch, even though we're not condone pitch invasion. They don't want to invade the pitch. But, you know, how they invade the pitch and the level of celebration and all them things. Like, you know, that a lot of those people now are going to feel kind of, and in the general public, I know enough people, my brethren, you know, they might be different places who feel tear up, say, oh, the local base player nice squad. So that you almost lose that sort of connectivity. And as a coach, it almost can be like, say, you know, sadly, you turn a certain amount of the fan base against it because you have some fans there already. Just simply because no local base playing in that squad. Them vex with Holly, them vex with Grimson, them say, yo, someone there right coach, guy, them ostracize the, you know, and again, while that opinion may be wrong, as a coach, you want to ensure you get as much of the local fan base to support you and be in your corner as possible because as I've seen with previous coaches, when the Jamaican fan base get vocal, you know, they may not go do your stadium, but you're going to hear about it on social media, even though as you say social media, the vocal minority, but you're going to hear about it. You know, and if you hear about it, you're going to force people like me if you kind of be more vocal and ask questions because ultimately we want to ensure that the fans have all the information they can possibly have. So, I don't know, unless it needs to get results. You know, if I'm gonna have this type of thinking, you know, if I'm gonna be hard and fast and say, yo, him take the best players, the overseas based players and the local players, do not impress him. I never impress him, you know. He never said that. Those are not his words, guys. But obviously, if he saw the overseas based players and he picked that squad, he must have been more impressed with.
All right. So how many quantities that? All right. So most persons would highlight the strikers in Colin and Trivante, and which I think they did well. I think they did really well because
and Demario, I think
Demario,
Colin, Trivante, and Demario are the three people that we see people vex over, really and truly.
Yeah. And the rain going on mad.
Alright, no props. Yeah, man. Jamaica need to spend the money and get some good coach because these coach. Well, Hal Grimson have a good track record there. Brought Iceland to the 2018, you know, World Cup. And if you watch that game where Iceland played Argentina and get Argentina a real run, he's a really solid coach. So personally, when I saw Hal Grimson I just responded to this comment from John Maurice. Big up yourself, John Maurice. Yeah, man. When he played against Argentina. Yeah, man, when he coached Iceland against Argentina, he was impressive. You know, I remember when they said he was coming to coach Jamaica, I remember that match. I remember watching that match. I was living in Portmore at the time, and I remember watching that game. You know, so I think he's a good appointment personally. You know, has a track record, has been to the World Cup already, so he knows how to get to the World Cup. You're hiring someone who has walked the walk before, so you would expect, so you know, there are certain things you can see.
The thing is that there's always going to be art. So I look at it. This is one of the way you can look at it as well. Now, if you want to play at the highest level, you have to go through the rounds. And when you look at the squad, you have roughly about nearly 8 or 9 Jamaican-born players. You have about 5 or 6 of them who pass through the Jamaican Premier League. So
good point. That's a good point.
If you want to be a part of the national team, and we identify that the local league is not at the level to get you where you want, especially in the football world, it means that you have to be performing well to get the opportunity to go overseas. Now, a lot of people might say going to the national team so that they can get this way can do. No, that's not how the national team should operate. Gone are the days where players are going to the national team to get contract. Those days gone.
But
what you're gonna see is that
that's a big thing in the JFF then, where
look at
JFF is accused about that a lot. Say a lot of players get in the team just to
good.
get contract.
If
But
anything,
they,
if any player should have a big case, would have been a player like Cephas, where he was a part of the JPL, doing very well in JPL, left JPL,
went
gone into
overseas.
Europe at a different, a higher level league, performed well as well, leading goal scorer for his club. Third, I think he finished third leading goal scorer in the league overall, made it team of the year,
Indeed.
and he still wasn't able to make the squad.
Continue, preach. I agree with you. And I think
in that aspect, he would have a bigger shout than most of the other players, and he didn't make it. So it boils down to what exactly the coach is looking for, and maybe specifically what the coach is looking for. It maybe just didn't see it other places, and it's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. But in the world of football, it's very harsh. And this particular topic is one in which I believe if Al Grimson don't facet the results as fast as possible, he will come under immense pressure. He will come under for that.
And I agree with you. A point that I heard raised this morning, and it was a beautiful point that it didn't come to my mind initially, but when the person raised the point, I agreed wholeheartedly, was that, fans are looking at it and saying that the inverse of the argument I was making before. Fans are looking at it and they're saying that there is no local-based player in the team. While there is no player in the JPL in the team, there are players who would have been born in Jamaica, gone overseas, played football, and are in this team. Look at Paris. I am extremely happy that Paris is in the team. And I've been following Paris' development overseas. And when he just went over there, he wasn't starting every single game, but gradually. And that's Dynamo Kiev, by the way. When he transferred to Dynamo Kiev, he didn't go to Dynamo Kiev straight from Jamaica. I went to some club in Sweden, I think. Then he went to Kiev after. The name of the club. Yeah, man. Damsdale. And him go there to go mash it up. And him progress going into Ukraine, playing at Kiev. And he's been playing really good at Dynamo Kiev. I know him in the squad. He's a very high IQ player. I think when I watch Paris play, Paris is not a player where you see often. Like Jamaicans up to the whole skill thing and beat the man yesterday and they want to beat him again and beat him again. If Paris beat you the first time, he might go try to make the killer pass or the shot. Or he's a very playing football, very intelligent. And when we see him in the squad, I was very happy to see him in the squad. I'm saying that to say that the Jamaican players who are of a high level, they would have already left and them overseas are playing right now. And they are being called up to the squad. That's one way of looking at it. And maybe it is indeed that the JPL is not of the quality required.
No, the truth is it is not of the highest level of where most of us would want it to be. And I do believe in maybe the next possible 7 to 10 years, we might see a JPL at a very good level, who's able to compete, but maybe not at the international level. Because when you look at it, right, if USA should field their entire squad, the chances of you see MLS players in it are maybe like 2 or 3 MLS players. You're going to see a lot of players right across the highest level of football. And that is what it takes to be playing or be playing competitive at that particular level. And if we should go into that game and we said that, hey, we'll put our best team forward from the JPL, our best team forward from the JPL, going up against players who are playing in England, Spain, Germany, France, and a team that with those bulk of players, and all those players who are playing Champions League and such. I highly doubt that we stand a chance. Highly doubt that we stand a chance. But in essence, we're not here to only compete. We're not here to go out and showcase that, hey, we're building something strong. And if you want to be a part of this squad, this national team, because this is not just anybody coming out. This is a national team. We're the best of the best. The best of the best Jamaican representing for their club right across the world. It's not just anybody, just we said. The best of the best should be played in the national team, not just anybody. And that's one of the reasons why that's in the direction now where football is going.
Yeah, man.
They are going to choose from and I don't see it changing anytime soon. I see it getting actually escalated as faster than what we actually think.
Yeah. Javid 4D says if you're good enough for the national team, you'll be playing at a higher level. than the Jamaica Premier League. And I may agree. I agree with you. I agree with Javid, you know.
No, but
Unless
as I said, a lot of players already in the national team coming from the Premier League. So there should not be that big argument that about the Premier because Boza, a 16-year-old at Boys Town, Paris from Cavaliers, a lot of these guys are coming from the JPL, which shows that the showcase that the JPL can produce quality. Unfortunately, you have to go to refine that quality. So this is where when these guys move on, they'll have gotten the opportunity under maybe better coaching, better facilities, better infrastructure, better technical development, where they can get a lot better, significantly better.
You mentioned Nicholson being in the JPL when he was 16, and that brings another question. And again, we're here to discuss the squad, but just a very brief a bit. Do you think the JPL needs to get significantly younger? And I mean, I have seen
the JPL is actually young.
Beginning to get younger. Yeah, man. The JPL is beginning to get young. Yeah, man.
No,
but do you think we need? Yeah, man. Yeah. But you think we need to continue that trend in terms of, you know, missing enough 16-year-old, even a Cavalier. You know, you have a few teenagers starting a Cavalier team. So you think that's a trend that we need to continue to get the JPL as young as possible if we want to get people over into Europe? I know the answer to that question, but just throwing out there of a conversation and see because you mentioned it.
Yeah, that's actually a very good question. I think that it's a good question. It's a good way to look at it, but I think that there must be a level of balance because at the end of the day, we look at the squad that won the JPL. You had the youngest squad in the league versus the most not the most experienced, but the highest quality squad in the league. And even though Mount Pleasant had a few young players, because these players are not all at Mount Pleasant.
Yeah.
One and two of them are in the 30 bracket. Most of them are
younger than
young.
them, but Mount Pleasant is an average age squad.
Good.
Yeah.
23, 24.
Yeah, 23, 24, young squad as well, yeah.
Probably true, me at 30, so I look at them as young. But in the same sense,
young in football years, you know?
But if you look at it in that aspect, the quality that they displayed on big day, you'd realize that the balance, they had a better balance where experience and quality is concerned in comparison to Cavalier, where there's not much experience, but the quality is there. And unfortunately, despite the quality level is almost the same, Mount Pleasant a little bit more, the experience propel Mount Pleasant to the victory quite easier.
Yeah, man. One thing as well sometimes when the players go overseas, you know, normalizing living overseas, you know, going to a different country, coming from here, you probably grew up a view where you grew up a town and you play for our view. And you go overseas and you know the weather, the food, them type of things. A lot of players go overseas with talent and from Jamaica and then probably just not really acclimatized. You know, so sometimes it's not even just the quality of the player as well. You have to do the entire infrastructure, you know, the mental side of the game, the psychology. You know, are we preparing these players? I think something I always say to people about football is like, I think in Jamaica, right, there's this general narrative within which I think people believe, like, say, a quote unquote, don't play sports. So if you're looking at high school, right, so if I tell the people them who ball in a really good class, or ball in this, or ball in some of them, I'm not generalizing, some of them, not everybody. But I think in Jamaica, to improve football, we need to start view it differently. Like we need to start view football like anybody at all, no matter where your IQ be, low or high, can play football because then now that's where you're able to get the right mentality, you know, that right mix of mentality. So when players go overseas, they are capable to gel within that system. But I think our whole approach on football in Jamaica, we kind of view it as a like a pastime thing.
No, my art.
You know?
So you have to look at so football. You have to look at football in Jamaica. What does football in Jamaica mean? How did football come about? What does it represent? So if you look at it, football in Jamaica, right across Jamaica, ingrained from a social concept. We are getting the people in the community together, let them enjoy themselves, go out and kick a ball. It's a community social aspect. That's what football is in Jamaica. That is the reason I see some of the clubs are community-based.
Community-based clubs, yeah.
Exactly. Because that is what they used from back then to join people together. Now, the problem we have right now is that we are kind of failing to realize that football is a business.
It's a business,
strictly
yeah, man.
It's strictly business.
Sports. My general things, Manchester sports in general is a multi-million dollar business, but football right now, so we keep it to football. Yeah,
But
football is a business.
we don't treat it as a business.
Yeah.
We treat it as a social intervention. And because we consistently treating it as a social intervention, it won't improve. So for example, what if I want to help in MG Sports, I consistently keep it just doing like corner leagues and just some little something on the roadside or something, rather than I branch out into the business aspects of doing some of the Premier League contents, doing some content on major leagues, and getting more and more. Brother, I don't think I would grow like that where that is concerned. So until we start treating football like a business, that is where you're going to see money coming in, infrastructure getting better, quality of coaching improve, players now getting proper paid, so they're now taking their football way more serious.
Yes.
They're not. And so until then, because we don't view the way your players who are underpaid, players in the JPL are not getting basically stipend them and get for them pay a month time. Basically stipend. So we expect them players, they're not going to take it serious. The slightest opportunity pop up. The slightest opportunity pop up. They might run go take it. That's just how the nature is. I know players right now where in the JPL we are just 30 grand a month they make that
From playing football.
And that's significantly below minimum wage, because minimum is a weekly. How much a minimum wage? I'm not sure. How much a minimum?
I remember now, it used to be 7.5 a week, I think, the last time. I think it really recently, but the last
I think
time
about 10,000. Minimum is about 10,000.
About 10,000 or so now, yeah.
Yeah, about 10,000. And
so monthly 40 grand and you make 30. So below. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Them tell like 30 grand for a big man. 30 grand. If me say me I got collect 30 grand to go pay my bills, me lose everything.
And imagine,
me lose every single thing.
Imagine if you depend the air and the feeling, you get a double fracture in on your leg them. $30,000 can't even pay for probably a night a doctor bill, So I mean, all them little things there we think about. I'm not going to still military, I never introduce myself, so I'm plug myself in their life. So I'm Giovanni Brady, sports content creator. Isn't me? Big up to military, long time. Remember, I never have no followers. Even though I have to give followers now, 0 followers. I'm link up military. Military never shut me at all, Good youth military. So Giovanni Brady, you go up on my page, you see a bag of sports content. I also have a YouTube. Different style of what military does, but really going to matches, vlogging, interviews, that type of thing. It's not just football, sports. So if you're interested, you go on my page, go on YouTube. If you like the content, like it, subscribe for more things, and yeah.
Quality content, people. Quality
content. Yeah, man.
Can't
yeah, man.
Me mix up on Ray. There's some love story.
Oh, man. We need everything. We need every voice in our space now. We need every voice so it can balance, Everybody. So let me ask you then, military. What the game tonight against USA? Where you
Yeah, I'm back here now, man.
Yeah, man.
I mean, internet man, cause the light go and end up have to switch it to
no problem.
Yeah,
no
the internet. Yeah,
no
later, despite the quality of and the feel, I'm a bit worried because if I'm being honest, I don't think that we have really put the ball on the ground and play the ball as though I would want to see the team. And we're going up against a USA team. It doesn't matter which team USA put on.
Yeah.
They played their brand of football, a high intensity pressing system. And I'm very much scared of going to face that with a team that is not so cohesive. Players still trying to understand each other, still trying to get to know each other. So that kind of worries me a bit. I'm hopeful for it. I'm really hopeful. But I think we can win, and I'm hopeful for the win. But I would be very disappointed if we lose as well.
I'd be disappointed. I'd be disappointed if we get a loss tonight. But my bigger disappointment is that I wonder the backlash because I don't think a loss tonight means that we couldn't make it to the set. Well, it depends on what you view as success. But a loss tonight, I don't think a loss tonight means that you couldn't make it to the quarter or the semis, because even if we lose tonight, I feel like say we still have one of the better squad them in the Gold Cup, but we could have still go far. And maybe a loss tonight don't necessarily mean that we play, but it can mean that we just never. As I said, we never put the ball up on the ground, we never get to play no football with this exact team before, So that can be the reason for our loss tonight. So if we lose tonight, I'll be disappointed, but I just hope that the general public,
Yeah, but what if we lose? What if we lose and don't see us playing good football? We just look horrible all over the place. Disorganized.
And that's a part of the thing now I alluded to before, Me not expect if we look as bad as we looking at the two friends of them before, because these are quote unquote higher caliber players, Man, we are playing a Premier League, your West Ham, your Everton, your Aston Villa, Peanut now got the boat, but me not expect your Luton who just get promoted in Amari Bell. So me not expect if we look like crap tonight, but it will be difficult for me to see a massive jump from between, but in terms of organization, rather, from between what we see against Jordan or what we see against Qatar to where we go tonight. I mean, quality-wise, I expect us to be a bit better quality. I think in the final third in those two games, I think we were not good at all. So I expect to see more connectivity in the final third because we have good players, and some of them have actually played before. Bobby played with Mikel before, and Leon. And if a Shemar Nicholson start team play with them before, really and truly in the final third are only the Mario Gray knew. But still, chemistry relevant. Yeah, well, chemistry relevant. And even though them four men may play together, you have a whole part of man who probably just start them second or them first game, in a competition like this. So, but I know.
Do you think that the coach? Question: do you think that the coach may start a more of a familiar team just to keep that level of understanding going up against a good team, a good pressing team?
But what would be a familiar team? How familiar would the team?
Maybe we might not see a Latibo there. Maybe we might not see a Demari Gray starting.
So you may not see a Latibo there or a Demari Gray.
If we see a Latibo there,
watch Latibo there against Qatar, and personally I like what I saw against Qatar from Latibo
I
there.
agree.
I know he's a defender. He's a guy who can play left back, right back, left centre back, right centre back. And we see him playing a midfield, and me actually like what me see from him. Me actually never like how John was looking at the match here. So going off those two games, Latibo there could have started, So how are you gonna get the balance between familiarity and talent with this team?
You have to disregard one.
You have to go find that. How you go find?
You have to disregard one. All right. So let me show you. Right. So John Russell. All right. So let me get one starting 11 that has familiarity and talent. There will be a little bit of exclusion of talent. Let me tell you. So you have Blake in goal, right back, start because I see him 4-4-2. That is preferred
play. Yeah, man. Yeah.
You have Blake in goal, right back, Latibo there right back, Bella left back, and we assume that Low might be good to play. Low and Mariappa.
Oh.
Well, remember no. So
Mariappa taking the boy.
Laugh. Mariappa is the coach, captain on the pitch.
We couldn't find a way to carry Mariappa without him being without having a squad. We couldn't find a way to carry Mariappa like a coaching staff or something.
I think it's a player coach thing. I think Mariappa is a player coach thing. But I think he's one of the players that my coach really believe in.
Every coach rate Mariappa, can't
exactly.
Say that,
So that's
he's a professional. He's a professional, yeah.
So this is that team of
continue,
that back four. Quality and also familiar. In the midfield now, Bailey on the right, on the left we have Bobby Reid. In the middle of the park, we have John Russell and Daniel Johnson. These are the guys that played in the Nation League against Mexico. Leading the line, Mikel Antonio and Boza. So in that aspect, that's more of a familiar team being selected, a familiar 11 being selected. You know that maybe because you know see Greer, Bobby, just something like that.
I like it. I like the team. I like the team. I like the idea, the thoughts that put in the team. It's a balanced team. Probably the only thing with a change in that team. In your team, you just choose. Probably that get Mbikisa. I've liked what I've seen from Mbikisa, and the fact that Mbikisa keeps on getting called back up. From trick. No, I'm not going to bench Mariapa, man. I'm playing Latibody as centre back. Latibody is a centre back. Latibody can play right back, left back. You know, Latibody has football intelligence because he never played for Pep. But Latibody was a part of the Man City Academy.
Yeah.
Under Pep.
No, he's technically so, man.
Yeah, man. So technically very sound player. A part of the English age groups coming up and so on. I think he won major silverware with one of the youth teams that represent the Tree Lion. The Tree Cubs, you know. Yeah, man, he win some sort of silverware with them. So very technically sound player, very intelligent player. You see me? As I said, my thing with Mariapa is that I just think that when I watch Mariapa play, especially against high level opposition, you can see that Mariapa is old. He still read the game very well, still a very intelligent player, but you can see in moments, especially as the game goes on, if I target him enough, you can say, yo, this is an older gentleman.
Yeah, it's clear. Once the ball gets it, hey, so you know,
yeah, man, you can see it. That's my reservation about Mariapa.
About that, if you have John Russell and Mariapa a bit too, you don't want them to be too close to each other, because you can't have two slow persons so close against each other, especially going up against such a young and running team. That USA team is a running team. It's a running team. So if you want to say you are one, let's disregard chemistry and cohesion and just work with straight quality. I think most persons would know the starting lineup. You're gonna see Mikel Antonio, Demary Gray, Bobby Reed, Leon Bailey. So they're gonna chuck everyone, all the talent in one time.
Let me give my 11.
Formation.
We play about, you know, read Pinocchio, we should need about, give my 11. So Blake definitely.
Well, formation.
4-4-2, because I'm in agreement with that he's gonna stick with that formation. Unless it goes drastically wrong in this Gold Cup, I'm probably going to change. I feel like he's a 4-4-2 manager, and until it's failing, if it's failing, and I hope it don't fail, because you want the manager to fail. Yeah. You want him formation for it.
Because I think he must change.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Unless something drastic happens, unless you get 7 or something, I'm going to change formation. You see me? I keep it. So, my 4-4-2 is that would have Blake in a goal. I have Blake in a goal. Right back, I have Lembikisa. At least I rate Lembikisa. Left back, I have Bell. I rate Kemar. I think Kemar Lawrence is a solid player, but Kemar Lawrence also, I get, up in a age, one of them players, we are rely upon for experience. But you can put in Kemar Lawrence and him do a job. So this is no slight on Kemar Lawrence. Rate him. But I give Mari Bell the start. Then centre back, I have Low. We have Damian Low and play Latibody beside him. Give him what we have in the squad. On a regular day, though, I think I would have Ethan Pinnock and Bodier are Low. But for tonight's game, we'll have Low and Latibody side. And in the midfield, Johnson, Russell, as I say, left hand side, I feel like I would give Demaria start. I feel like I give Demaria start. I feel like I give Demaria start. I feel like you can carry Demaria
and start him.
I feel like I give him a start. Maybe controversial, but I feel like I give him a start. Yeah, I said?
No, I have a question, but when I finish,
alright, man. Now, on the right-hand side, right? I think on the right-hand side, they have a lot of interchangeability, because if you look at it, right, you can play a 4-4-2, but sometimes it all has to do with the space the players occupy. Now, we've seen, since Unai Emery has taken over at Aston Villa, Leon Bailey, we've seen play up top with Watkins in a 4-4-2. You see me? So we see him play with Watkins as that type of second forward. He have good technical ability, he can pass the ball and so on. But we see him play up on the right as well. Leverkusen and Genk, Jamaica previously, and Gerrard before Unai Emery, so he can play right. Bobby Reed as well. Him can play cam. I've seen him play cam.
Bobby Reed, our only goalkeeper, nothing keeper.
Yeah, man. We've seen Bobby Reed play up on the right. We see Bobby Reed play up on the left. So what you could do in that situation, Antonio leading the line. But what you could do in that situation, right? You could have Bobby Reed play behind the striker, Leon down the right hand side, and them can kind of, them can switch game rules frequently in games, because both of them kind of give something different. Leon Bailey give that direct running and dribbling and so on, while Bobby Reed, kind of love
Yeah,
link play,
link
look
up play,
pass,
yeah.
touch and run off and so on. You see me? So you can have them two guys there and rotate with each other. Sometimes Leon will go up wide, Bobby drop in behind Antonio. Same thing. Sometimes Leon forward in centrally and Bobby can go out wide. Antonio lead the line. I think there is that flexibility and that maneuverability between Leon and Bobby. Something I think if the coach really analyzing team, really analyze what the players can play at club level, he can make use of it. Because what if at some point in the game you realize that the midfielder get overrun or something, and you have Bobby out right, Leon a play second striker, you can say, all right, Bobby, move back in behind the striker and kind of try to drop in and make the midfield a bit more complex with that tree, tell Leon to hold the way up on the right hand side. Or if the game require Antonio to hold up the ball and knock it down for Leon getting in behind. For game require that. You can't say, Bobby, go out while Leon come back in centrally. You have that level of flexibility. So I think that is my starting 11 right now tonight. I think that's the team I would start.
Not bad. All right, so last question.
Last
question.
Yeah,
What impact do you think fitness is going to play here? Because we know the players, some of these players are coming on vacation. Well, me never go on vacation yet, still, but me assume say going on vacation, me coming up, just imagine myself I come on vacation. I know these guys probably they are professionals and not like me. Well, when me here vacation, supposed to drink, me supposed to name food, more food and food. So when me going back to work, my belly is supposed to be big. So people are supposed to get fat. Vacation I come from. So where you think fitness are, you think these guys are supposed to come in sharp and looking fresh and ready to go?
No, man, I mean, after all, these guys are professional athletes. You see me? And even if them they out, I would not expect that they would have been vacationing so much. So vacation, so them come back in and belly big and them are and the season just like a 3 weeks now since the last game really.
About 4 weeks now, about 4
weeks. Man. Yeah, man, their level of fitness and our level of fitness are two different things, and they will not have been the only players in that position. Anybody who are playing inside the international game right now, everybody are playing at the Gold Cup under similar circumstances. Them left 3 weeks, probably they're on camp or whatever, probably them go on vacation and them just get called back up, and then back in the squad now play. So I don't think that is different for anybody else. I don't think Jamaica has any significant disadvantage here because across the board that would have been the scenario for your USA. You St. Kitts and Nevis, you Trinidad and Tobago, you all the team them. Yeah. So as the lovely Shanna go on. Miss Mago has said, when you think
I saw me vacation, I saw me vacation.
I don't think it's gonna be a level which man. They might come tonight and you're gonna even be clear the state say yo.
Turn up on my bill no big. Me never vacate.
Yes, you never go on vacation out.
Me belly is supposed to make the entrance before me.
I never go on vacation. I go on a work trip or there. I tell you, say, boy, I have to try my best to make belly big. It take time, I have free food. They go on vacation sometimes.
Actually, I almost reached me now. Me go Canada. When the 2000 about 2022, 2021, we go Canada. And I tell us after 2 weeks, I forget myself. I say, no, sir, this one look good.
Yeah, man, you have to talk to the canteen regularly, skip lunch, go vacation, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Yeah, man, you go.
Me tell her ham, pork, jerk chicken, fish, everything, and it just in abundance. Me look on my face. Me get up now, man. Now me looking at me around. Me couldn't see me hear them. So me had them sinking down my face, try to wait or so. And I said, no. This can't work. This can't work.
Last thing, military. Last thing earlier. So the group. So our group of Jamaica, St. Kitts, Trinidad, USA. Oh, yeah. Which are the we are qualified from? How you see the group? How you see the group end? How you see the group behind?
Me fear Trinidad because of the defensive structure they have. If you check the record in recent times, they're not really conceding goal. And Jamaica problem is we love to concede goal. For some reason, if the goal not going back out net, we're not happy. It come like, like when you have some man out there with us love whole car.
Yeah, man.
As we see, we love concede goal. No matter what happens, we need to concede a goal. So I'm afraid of Trinidad. I think they have the potential to draw against us. And if they win for their game against St. Kitts, they can go into that game trying to make a draw. But I think we can. I think we have the potential to top the group. If we draw against USA, I don't think we're going to top the group because I think USA is going to maybe blow away St. Kitts, and I'm not sure we're going to blow away St. So I do think that potentially, I'm going to have that we're going to come second.
Me
and USA first.
If Jamaica drop points against Trinidad, then we're in some trouble. I'll give some questions to answer, you know. And remember, I was saying, I was alluding to it before. Wait, no, I was alluding to it before. Remember, I said it before, and I said, people are saying, they don't even say a style of play by whenever. And I was saying to you, a style of play or not, Jamaica supposed to make the X. Style of play or not, some teams Jamaica supposed to beat. Because we've seen Jamaican teams where kick and run down ball, put 6, 5, 4, and send kits and whatever. So you have some teams who, regardless of how we play, we're supposed to beat them team. It don't really matter if we are playing like prime Barcelona.
If we don't know
we are playing like Norwich last year when they get relegated. It don't really matter. Some teams supposed to beat. So like Trinidad, send kits. Have a little program going on, you see me? Watch them the other day when they took the penalty, when they went to penalty shootout. I think they were in a playing game to come to the Gold Cup, and they were very confident in that game when they penalty shootout.
A lot of persons had Curacao to come through the group, you know, and to cause some problems as well. So you could look at it that something is there. You could look at that something is there.
Yeah, man, something. The game like that. And a lot of these teams are recruit well from overseas and bringing they themselves. I mean, they don't have the same pool as Jamaica have.
No, the Curacao Dutch pool.
Yeah, man. So a lot of these teams have been recruiting us, and I think concacaf has gotten. Now past 5 years, I can't see which part concacaf really improved. You watch the last World Cup and you see the performances where you see your Canada, your Mexico, your USA. I mean, none of them don't go that far. Them just qualify from the group, but still the games that they were knocked out represent well. Canada against Belgium in that first match, where Canada could easily got through. You know, so I think the quality in concacaf has gotten
and
well.
The Mexico-Argentina game as well, which was quite close, really close.
Yeah, man, very. When
man
USA played Netherlands too.
Yeah,
when USA played Netherlands too. Yeah, man, so concacaf has improved a lot, and only and Jamaica add to it. You know, we just need Jamaica. We just need the coach to get it right.
I think we can come second in the group, though. I think we can come second in the group.
Comfortably second, not barely second, not second with Trinidad and bring down with it back. No, if we lose tonight, 6 points, we're never in doubt. 6 points, we get a comfortable 6 points.
No, but
3-0.
Question. Bear in mind, Trinidad come out we had now. I play 2 games against them now. And then we have flag winner 2 times. Even though no, we don't lose 2 games.
We don't really count it.
You don't count it? You don't count it? Let me tell you something. All right.
Everybody's a silent player, isn't it?
You see now football? Let me tell you something in football.
Yeah, man, the mentality.
Exactly. It's winning. Brett's winning. It's losing and Brett's losing. And we are known for losing. And I think now we need the losing psychology part. We need to break out of that. We need to break out of that. So unless we get a big against USA, I think we both.
That's why I'll give him the call a local base player. You know, so the man they lose to Trinidad. So anybody they want him. You know what?
Rocky Psycho.
You know what mentality in the Gold Cup. So left them on there. You know what? Intoxicated because of them, man.
But yeah, but hold on. There's a quite a few of the players in the squad right now. There was a part of that squad. Lembikisa. Who else?
Whisper start second match.
Yeah. Whisper start second match.
Whisper come off. Yeah, man.
Ravel is not here. Who else?
Lembikisa and Whisper one member.
From that. Yeah, man. I think I told him.
Yeah, man. Lembikisa and Whisper one member from that game.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, but that's the only man they had, man. I mean, I really carry them man there. But yeah, as I say, playing style or not, you have some teams that may expect Jamaica to beat the Caribbean and concacaf. You know, playing style or not. As I say, I just hope that by the time Nations League start and into this tournament, you can see a clear structure. And that structure don't mean say we have make 150 pass to score 1 goal.
We look direct.
Yeah, man. You can look on a Brentford and see how Brentford play. Brentford is not a pretty passing team, but when you watch Brentford, you can say, yo, this is a team. You know, whatever it is that they're doing, they know say that they do and they know what they're supposed to do.
Exactly.
They kick out the ball, Tony catches like chest, and you have Rico Henry or whosoever else and run up till they can cross in the box. They know what them supposed. Yeah, Aston Villa as well. You know,
pretty brand of football,
yeah,
but
man.
they can get there so there, but they know exactly what to do and when to do it.
Our, me know enough people that really rate Leon. Personally, I think Leon probably is our on paper, talent-wise, one of our best players, top 3, 2, maybe even the best player in our squad. He plays in a team.
Oh, in our squad now. You know, I think Ravel Morris is most talented. I can be wrong, but I think Ravel might be the most natural talented player.
When Ravel did just foul, Ravel look. I think Ravel, remember when Ravel just fouled and with the player friendly, I think Qatar with the player friendly. I can't remember overseas. Yeah, man, Ravel look. Ravel see Ravel and say, yeah, this will be in 19, but Ravel has gradually, more and more people in Jamaica gradually drop off of this, you know?
Yeah.
Gradually drop
But
off.
I think talent-wise, though.
Yeah, man, talent-wise, definitely.
Yeah.
But the point I was making is that one of our better players plays in a team, or one of our key players play in a team and play 4-4-2. You see me? So him, maybe Unai's interpretation of 4-4-2 and Hal Grimson's interpretation probably differ a little bit, but he's playing in a similar system. You see me? So I expect him to forward in and, you know, can know what he's supposed to do to a certain degree. But again, you know, make we see. Because, yeah, talent-wise, Ravel is the best by a mile. Talent-wise, yeah, but we know the issues of playing Ravel and that have plagued Ravel, and we see if we can even play Ravel.
Yeah.
No matter which part in go. You know, but, yeah.
Gio, I've got move. I've got cut here now.
No problems, no problems. 1 hour?
Massive. I want to. Asalang?
About 1 hour, the panic, man. A long time, man. When you talk about football, time flying now.
Big up. I'm really respecting people. Don't forget to support him. Geo Talk Sports, we can tell people content, brilliant content, man. You tell them, man, you can't get content bossy.
Yeah, man. I'll interview this one a couple of times.
All right. I think in regards to content wise, you and Silent Bone, I think a lot of people really like the type of content they bring out. It's quite similar, but really like them kind of content there. So big up, massive respect. We'll see how it turn out. Before you go, just give me last thing prediction, scoreline prediction.
Oh, tonight? I go save tonight. I feel like I draw. Probably a 1-0 draw. I go save.
I go Jamaica 2, USA 0.
USA 0?
Yeah.
Alright.
Me lucky now.
Lucky like that?
I'm kind of lucky.
We'll see. I'll be happy with that result. I'll be happy. If we get that result, I'm happy. I'm happy bad. If we get that result there, if Jamaica beat USA 2-3-0 tonight, I feel like we're going to finals. Anyhow, we beat you because the confidence what I get from that, the carry against the tournament. You beat USA. Whatever quote-unquote bogey teams, them and Jamaica go finals. If we beat USA 2-0, the confidence I get from that with the players that we have. Yeah, man. So I really hope that I'm free. I hope that I'm free. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, big up, bro. Massive respect, you know? Alright, massive respect. Thanks very much. Yeah, man.